by the government. So the backing around there is the word patriotic. So excuse me, that is the first thing. Because I'm speaking from while I was growing up, I was reciting the national anthem, and I just noticed that I became so patriotic about my nation. The power of what a national anthem does to any nation, just like it began in the 19th century. That was when the concept of a national anthem began, in the 19th century, when the Europeans had their independence. That was when it began. People felt connected to their nation. They felt a deep sense of service, love, strength, because the national anthem reminds us of our history, our struggles, reminds us of love, pain, service, and of course, national identity. That is where we get our identity from. Every nation has a national anthem. Every nation has a national anthem, and that is what spots them out as their identity, even on the global stage.
Interesting. Now, from what the Senator Monguno said about this, new anthem promoting brotherhood among Nigerians and helping them to unite, can a national anthem actually help to bridge cultural and social divides within Nigeria? Let's put it in the context of Nigeria right now.
Well, only to the fact that, this particular subject or context is not just looking at Nigeria as a whole, but looking at the motive behind the conceptualism of every national anthem. It is meant to bring about unity and brotherhood. Take, for example, those days in school, growing up in a primary school, secondary school, and you have people from different ethnicities. They attend the same school. Now, we might not speak the same language. We might not even like each other's face. We might not even be cool with each other's ethnic group. Guess what? Once the national anthem goes up, everybody stands. As a matter of fact, there's an ethic attached to the national anthem. I was taught to stand still. Whatever I was doing, I should stop, put my hand on my chest, and then recite the national anthem. So that they say, if you are smiling, just keep your mouth like that. You go, freeze in honor to your nation. But the idea here is that every person that was from other ethnic groups and other different parts of the federation all sang the same song, even if you sang it in your dialect, because actually a national anthem should be sung in the nation's dialect. But only to the fact that there are different ethnic groups. For us who were also colonized by the British, we also have a second language, which is English. That makes it easier for everybody to flow with the same, voice. But the idea here is that it does unite people. It does. If we take the previous national anthem before the present one, when you say "Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria," call obey. That anthem began, in 1976 by a man called Pa Benedict Idiose. But then the one we have now was written by a British woman, Lillian Jane Williams, who happens to be a British lady that wrote that. So the other one was the one I was used to, but we have a new one on board, and we have to learn and cope and understand what it has to say. But idea here is that every national anthem of any nation, whether it's Nigeria or China or Spain or France, it has to be able to unite the people. It should spark up a sense of patriotism. That is the core of any national anthem. The heart of a national anthem is patriotism.
So we're looking at lyrics now, because if an anthem is written, right, and then composition happens, so it means there are things you're expected to, or words you're expected to pay attention to.
Absolutely.
Do you think Nigerians pay attention to the lyrics of the national anthem, or is it just there's this euphoria of, we're familiar with this sound?
Well, I speak for myself, and the impact it has had on my life, and that is why I'm not ashamed of my country. And to be somebody who is into nation building, the national anthem was one area that inspired me.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes, it was one of the things that inspired the things I do. Arise, O Compatriot, the national anthem reveals two things. You will find that both in this present one and the old one. The past, the one we started with then, the one that started in 1960, it lasted to 1976, and the one that began from 1976 that lasted up to May 2024. Now, Arise, O Compatriot, Nigeria called Obey to serve our fatherland. You will see that everything that what it was saying there had to do with humanity. To serve our fatherland. Okay, then you take the second stanza, which in the present one you will hear the same word, O God of creation, O God of creation. It was used again. That also inspired me. And you would not believe, I always tell myself that, do you know that every leader in any cadre of this nation or in any nation, if we can bring ourselves under the constitution which every national anthem was composed and bettered, trust me, it will affect the lives of the people, because our national anthem reflects our history and the traditions of the nation and our people. So it inspired me. I saw humanity in our national anthem. I saw youth development in a national anthem. The second stanza says, O God of creation. When you read down, it talks about help our youth the truth to know. It inspired something. Serving our nation with love and strength and faith. That means it's patriotic. Look at the Olympics. Every nation stands and recites their national anthem. And of course, when you're done at the beginning, other nations will recite, and then the host nation will also, sing their national anthem. Check out what happens when the winning team has to recite their national anthem.
Yeah.
Imagine that euphoria, the tears, the joy. Because at that point, this is what comes to your mind. I am making my nation proud. I have put my country on the global space. So a national anthem is meant to stir up patriotism. If patriotism is not in the heart of any national anthem, sincerely speaking, it will stand the test of time.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, looking at the lyrics of this particular anthem, and what the federal government is planning to achieve, all right? Because we're talking about the words of the anthem, because we have to pay attention to the words. If you don't pay attention, you're going to miss out. So it starts with more like a greeting, and then talks about our native land, and then says something that is very obvious. Tribe and tongue differ. When we don't all say the same things, we don't all speak the same language. And then he says, in brotherhood we stand. He says, Nigerians all and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Okay. So I'm gonna focus on that part of serving the motherland with pride.
Yes.
You said something about not being ashamed of your country. I have seen and heard Nigerians make mockery of the national anthem. So people have coined it. Okay, the last one or the past one, the old one. And they make mockery of it, actually, tweaking the lyrics to say something different.
I remember one of them.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's go to commercial break.
Endlex Properties and Development Limited. Endlex Properties and Development Limited. We are giving a special promo on all our land properties. Come to our office at number
Okay, welcome back. I was tempted to play the anthem again, but then I looked at my clock and I was reminded you don't have time. All right, so welcome back to the show. So we're still talking about the significance of a national anthem. And of course, my guest in the studio, Mr. Juan, says that the national anthem is supposed to, he says it is supposed to well up patriotism in the people. And before we went on that break, part of the questions I asked was about how, not necessarily how many Nigerians, but how much do Nigerians pay attention to the lyrics of a national anthem? Oh well. So he says that for him, the last national anthem we had, Arise, O Compatriots, inspired him to start doing the kind of things he's been doing so far. All right. So perhaps it's time for a new kind of inspiration. So I did a quick Google search, to just find out, okay, which other countries have changed their national anthem? And of course, it's not the first time Nigeria will be doing this, right? We went from somewhere to where we were, and then here we are again. So this is more like we've changed our anthem like 2 times. All right. So where is that thing I saw? Let me just read out to you some of them. Paul Senji put this together. Okay, so South Africa is here on the list, and this happened in 1997 when they had to change their anthem to reflect the new democratic era post-apartheid. And the idea was that the new anthem would represent unity and reconciliation among diverse cultures. We'll move on now to Rwanda. 1994 genocide happened over there, and of course, they felt like, you know what, the previous anthem is not what we need. So by 2001, they changed it. All right. And they have a new one, Rwanda Nziza. And the idea also was to promote national unity and reconciliation. Another country here, let's see, 1994 Zimbabwe abandoned their previous anthem and adopted a new one. And this was actually inspired by the country's aspiration to have a distinct national identity that's different from the Pan-Africanist anthem adopted by many other countries. DR Congo, they had one, Arise Congolese, was actually adopted as a national anthem in 1960. And then in 1971, they changed to another one. That is when the country changed its name, all right, to, can I pronounce that? I think it's French. Anyway, so 26 years later, the country decided to go all the way back to Arise Congolese, all right, that they left off. Ghana, the first national anthem there, God Bless Our Homeland, was adopted in 1957. That was during colonial administration. But then, when the country became a republic in 1960, July, they changed to another anthem, which is To Lift High the Flag of Ghana. All right. This one was composed by a Ghanaian musician and teacher. Namibia also changed. Libya also changed their anthem. But then here is what I'm still saying now. When a change is done, because we're also looking at the wordings of the anthem, perhaps it's time for a new inspiration. You said the first one inspired you. Now we have another one. And what the government is looking at is uniting Nigerians. I remember also at some point the president said for every program we're going to have, for every public gathering, the pledge, the national pledge should be recited. So the whole thing about uniting Nigerians, unity actually starts from the mind. Yes,
unity starts from the mind. And at the same time, unity also plays out in leadership. Because, in Nigeria, our ethnic groups are much. We are so many. So it's wise that even while we are being taught through this, like I shared of my experience in primary school, that affected my cognitive reasoning. That I didn't see anybody that was not from my tribe as, me being better or not being better. It taught me something that we are one. Everything, even reciting the pledge, everything taught me that. So, but I also believe that just as it has started from leadership, it has to also, run down from leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So, our leaders too must begin to lead by example too, to ensure in our different constituency we must begin to show that spirit of unity. Because, like I said, that national anthem, any national anthem of any nation, this is not particular to just Nigeria alone, any nation at all, must stir up patriotism. It is that enthusiasm it stirs in us that reminds us where we are coming from. Just like we were just talking a while ago, if you look at one of the oldest anthems, you talk about the French, or the one that says the best is the French anthem, because every time you listen to the French anthem, it reminds us of the struggle they went through, the fight, the battles, the bloods that were shared, the things that happened just to bring about the revolution that they have today. So it keeps telling them, hey, remember where we are coming from. Hey, remember where we are coming from. So I believe strongly that every anthem and this that we have now going forward, should show in our actions, both from the leaders and the people.
All right. So talking about respect for national symbols, I mean, the national anthem is one of them. Yes. National flag, the national animal,
the coat of arms,
and all that stuff. All right. Because I see that Nigerians most times do not, should I say, put an attachment or reverence to these things.
Yes.
What do you suggest the government does? What should they do to ensure that Nigerians have some level of reverence for national symbols?
Okay. Immediately I found out the new bill that was passed, I began to study the new anthem. And yes, I saw the part that was talking about brotherhood, and then the last stanza also captured, O God of creation, as well. Lead us, guide us. Now, that tells us that our leaders, and most of when I talk about leadership, I don't speak leadership just from the government alone, but leadership are in levels. Now, since this bill is coming from there should be action. We should feel that reality, because leadership flows from the top to the bottom. We should feel that reality of brotherhood. We should feel that reality of oneness, inclusion, to see that we are all working together. There is no form of discrimination of any ethnic issues and all that. We must begin to see that there are principles and values that brings people out on the scene, either in the area of competence or character or enlightenment or empowerment. These things have a way of playing in the hearts of the people. So if after a while the people begin to look at it, something happens to them, they start losing reverence for the national anthem. To be very honest with you, in all sincerity, there is more work to be done than just the new anthem that we have. There is a lot that needs to happen in the hearts of the people, and the leaders have a major role to play, which I strongly appeal. They have a major role to play. When that begins to happen, we will begin to feel, when we sing our national anthem again, we remind ourselves, what I'm singing, do I feel it? What I'm singing, do I experience it?
Yeah, but then sometimes, right, what I've also discovered is, just like you're saying, it has to start from leadership. And I found but then you also mentioned that leadership is not just about government, right? No. Because Nigerians are quick to think that leadership means government. In fact, some people, leadership for them is federal government, president, that's leadership. National Assembly members, that's leadership. They forget that in their corner,
your corner, they
are leadership as well.
Exactly.
So they are leading where they are.
Exactly.
And so they are expecting the government to do everything. So recently they had this, the EFCC have been clamping down on some people for what they call abuse of the naira, right? Yes. And some people it's like, what's that one now? I beg this money. And they can squeeze it. They can do anything they want to it. They're like, I beg, money don't even get value. All of that, right? So I also feel like Nigerians have also their own roles to play.
See, the truth of the matter is that there is a major reorientation. There is a behavioral alignment that needs to happen. Now, the reason why I would say leadership starting from the top, which has to do with the government, a major part has to do with them. That's the truth. To whom much is given, much is expected. We can't take that away. because there is a level that you are in leadership, that there is the kind of influence that you can wield on the people. And when they see you do it, and you see, leadership is by example. See, I can tell you strongly that a lot has seeped from the top to the bottom. Remember when we had issues, fuel hike, all this stuff that was happening, you will find even fellow Nigerians excuse me, wanting to eat from themselves. Dog eat dog. We saw it, and so that I corrected somebody one day. I said, tomorrow you will say the government is the problem. Look at what you're doing. Tomorrow you will say corruption is with the government. Look at what you're doing. Do you understand? So it starts with everybody. However, to whom much is given, much is expected. So much is expected up there that I believe that the people, the influence can just run down from the top, and it will begin to affect everyone. I am not disputing the fact that we all have a role to play. I am not disputing that fact. But doesn't change the fact that responsibility lies in the hands of those, especially those who wear the crown on their head. There's a lot to be done.
Yeah, sure.
Just like we couldn't change the national anthem. We don't have the power to do that. So
okay, well, let me see messages here because I can't take any calls right now. There's a program for 5:45 and this is 5:43. Okay, so let me see this one here on WhatsApp from Anonymous. All right, says anthems also reflect the true history of the nation. However, the last line of the second stanza says Nigeria has a banner without stain. Can your guest in his good conscience say that the flag of this nation and whatever it represents is stainless? To limit the chronicles, did we not see blood stains on the national banner during NSAS? Anonymous, that's your, what's it called now? Your message.
I saw that too.
Okay, someone here says, during a football game I watched where Brazil was playing a quarter-final match against Germany, I saw Neymar and David Luiz cry while chanting their anthem. I've seen Mbappe cry too in the final against Argentina in the last World Cup. These are people that have felt the love for their home country. With what Nigerian governments have been dishing out to us daily, will chanting the anthem spur emotion and enthusiasm in you? Will it? Desmond is asking. All right, so this is where we wrap up the conversation. In one sentence, please.
Well,
your final thoughts.
Okay. All I just want to say, to be honest, is that there is a lot that needs to happen, come from leadership to help the hearts of the people again, because the people, their heart needs to be restored. And I feel that the national anthem, just changing national anthem, is not enough.
All right.
There is much to be done. All
right. Thank you very much, Mr. Uche Juan Augustine, social commentator, and of course the convener of Stop the Cycle National Summit. Thank you for being on Hard Facts today.
Thank you too.
All right. So we have a recorded program, Boeing Luxury Estate IC, and of course 6 o'clock will bring you the news. And after the news, I'll be back here on Open Season. But don't forget now, I need you to answer my question. All right. I'm asking if you feel the need to join when you hear the anthem anytime, any day. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to yet another amazing time on your radio. This is Real Estate on your radio with Owe Martins. I am Gabriella.